Jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.
Alright folks, this is episode 7, Two Live Fools coming at you. Today's a special day. We actually got a good friend of ours that our first guest actually on the podcast. He is a Danaher Death Squad member, Renzo Gracie black belt, multi-time Rise Invitational champion, Onnit Invitational champion, and Kasai Super Fight champion, and a host of other amazing accolades even before he was a black belt. So ladies and gentlemen, Frank Rosenthal.
Yeah, Frankie! My man.
How you doing today, Frank?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. I mean, this is awesome. You know, we've trained with you. I mean, I've also learned under you a couple times, so it's really great to have you on. So yeah, before we really kind of get into it, where did it all get started, man? What's kind of like the background on you? I know there's some bunch of stuff you could find on Google, but what's some of the stuff people don't know about your background that really got you into this?
So pretty much I started wrestling when I was 11 or 12.
Yep.
And I was never a phenomenal wrestler. I really enjoyed it, but I was never fully committed to wrestling. You know, I played other sports as well. And then around high school, Eric Sherman, he's actually another Renzo Gracie black belt. If you were on the competition scene from the years of, I want to say 2008 and on, and you went to a local competition and you had Sherman in your division,
Beast, bro.
You saw that name on the bracket and you were like, oh fuck, today's gonna be a day. But so anyway, Eric started training under Matt and Nick Serra and really exploded onto the competition scene, and he kind of was the one that brought me into the in the door. And he's been a huge influence from day one. He's still one of my best training partners. And so he kind of guided me in the right direction, and the Serra and Renzo family are obviously pretty much the same thing. So when he moved to the city, for college, he ended up training at Renzo's, and then it kind of just all went from there. But Eric was my initial influence in martial arts, and is still very much an influence on my game now.
Yeah, if you've been on the scene since the earlier days, I've known Frankie for probably over a decade now. We trained together when we were blue belts at my instructor George's school. But I've known Sherm that long as well, and he's always been a monster. Me, him, you, Alex Brazzi, we all used to train together. We'd be in the city all the time, and he's a motherfucker.
And that's how I feel. That's how it starts too. It always starts with your buddy kind of throwing an arm lock on you in his basement one day, and then you're hooked, man.
I need to know this shit.
I
can't be nobody's bitch for the rest of my life.
I was just so amazed. I was like, oh my god. Because I thought wrestling was the end-all, be-all. Which, compared to somebody that doesn't know anything, you're in good shape, right?
Yeah.
But, Eric wrestled too, and then he started doing jiu-jitsu. And actually, here's the way it started. He calls me one day, and he's like, yeah, I'm on my way to yoga. And I was like, what?
Yoga?
He goes, yeah, I'm going to yoga. I'm like, why the fuck are you going to yoga? And he's like, because it helps with jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, deeper question, what the fuck is jiu-jitsu? And so that's kind of how it started, and I made fun of it. I was like, dude, you're doing yoga, you're putting a gi on, what are you, fucking 5 years old?
Wrestling in your pajamas now? What the hell's the matter with you?
And so one day at his house,
breaking boards
in the living room, he's like, all right, he's like, you wrestle, I'll grapple. He's like, let's see how this works out, and we can all guess how that worked out.
Absolutely.
But rather than being like, oh man, that's bullshit, I was like, dude, this is magic. It was literally having a superpower. And so I think when you tell people about martial arts, it only does it so much, but when they feel it, they're like, that's when you really can influence somebody. And so that's what did it for me.
Yeah, I agree 100%, because even with me, I mean, I was a kickboxing and karate guy for 20 years, and then the first time I stepped on the jiu-jitsu mat, it was like, oh my god, I don't know a fucking thing. And a lot of people, if you have a super big ego, you run from it, because we've all seen the big guys that come into the gym and oh, I could deal with this, and they get choked out and they don't know how to deal with it. Or you go, I don't want that to ever happen to me again.
Yeah.
And this is, I need to learn this. And the guys that take that route, they become very good at this martial art, or they just have that passion and that love, and they want to keep perfecting that martial art. So I agree 100% with Frankie on that one.
Yeah, I know. I was telling you, like before Jiu Jitsu, I'd been training and competing pretty actively in Muay Thai. So I'm thinking I'm the baddest dude on the planet. And the same gym I trained at also had a Jiu Jitsu program. So I'd walk off the mat after Muay Thai, and I'd see these guys throwing on pajamas, and I'm like, that looks stupid. Ask my coach, I'm like, what is that? It's like Jiu Jitsu, and I asked him, I'm like, should I try it? He's like, yeah, fuck it. Threw a gi on me. Went out there, first 5 seconds, arm locked immediately, and I was I'm like, all right, that's actually pretty cool. I got to give it a shot. So that's kind of how it starts, man. It's
it's like you think you know how to fix a car, but then you realize there's race cars out there. That's kind of how I think we all kind of get into that flow, into that thing. So what else is going on, brother?
Yeah, so on top of that, I know like you're definitely active on the scene. Like anyone who looks on like YouTube or Google could see all like your highlight reels. But you're also a full-time instructor at it's Bayside Henzo Gracie, correct?
Yep.
So you're kind of doing that now to other people. Anyone who walks in the door, you're kind of showing them this art and kind of getting them hooked immediately.
Showing them the light.
Showing them the light in the darkness.
Yeah.
It's either way. It's either the light. It's either the light.
You see the light, and then it gets real dark, and everything gets narrow
almost
for a little
instantaneously.
bit. Yep.
So as you've been instructing and showing people and bringing them up, like in your opinion, what do you feel like you're giving these people after like looking at your experience and seeing how you kind of come up, and now you're this high level performer? But now, what do you feel when you give someone something like Jiu Jitsu? What are you giving them, especially when they become hooked by the rest of their life?
That's a good question. I think at least what I try to give them, or what I try to do my best at, is approaching every class or every student to give them what they need and not what I need. And what I mean by that is, I think sometimes really great instructors can be guilty of pushing their own game or their own goals on their students. So for example, like, not a lot of our students compete. Some of them do, but we're not like a competition school where the majority of the students compete. And so what I try to give them is like I'm not gonna teach the ideas and the things that I learn at the Henzo Gracie Academy like verbatim to my students, because that's not what they need right now. I get a guy that comes in, maybe he's never trained in his whole life. He doesn't give a fuck about John's leg lock system.
No, he just wants to be able to touch his toes.
Yeah, this guy wants to get through the warm-up, and so, or just move a little more athletically so that he can get through a class. So what I try to do is really like take, my own stuff out of it and look at each student and be like, what is this guy gonna need or this girl gonna need? And for the students that do compete, like obviously I can help them as best I can. But I would say for everybody it's different. And so I would say a few examples are, again, if somebody just wants to get a little more athletic, more in shape, maybe they do want to compete, maybe they just want a new social circle of people that are like-minded and moving towards the same goal, and a Jiu-Jitsu Academy provides that for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in my opinion, it provides it a little bit better than, say, friends at the bar do, or some like beer softball league. So
you're doing something constructive instead of destructive with your day,
So I would say it gives people, I try to give people what I feel they need and what they tell me. And oftentimes if you ask them, like, they'll tell you. Like the first thing I do when I meet a new student or I'm giving an intro lesson, I'll be like, hey, like, what are you hoping to get out of this? What do you want to get out of this? And
then you can gear it more towards their goals.
And if they don't know, that's fine too. But we've been doing this long enough that usually, like we were talking about before, you can read them and you can figure it out. But I would say that's like the most important thing.
So I know, like in my experience, like you were an instructor for a short time at Henzo Gracie of Denville, and a lot. I think once you started, I remember my first tournament, like after you started teaching, like double golded like immediately, and I was just like, oh dude, I'm like, this guy's the real deal. And you were only there for a short time, and one thing after watching an interview with John Danaher, and we talked about when he began his leg locks system, how he'd met Dean Lister, and he only knew Dean Lister for maybe a day, and he said someone he had come into his life for a short time but influenced this whole system. And I could attribute that to you, because I only trained underneath for maybe 3 months, but there's still pieces and concepts that you've given me that have made leaps and bounds in my game, and that I continue to use from now on.
Well, shit, we just rolled for an hour and Frankie just changed my life of jiu-jitsu. And I've been doing it for 16 years and I'm a second-degree black belt.
Yep.
And that's what I love about this sport, though.
Yeah.
Or this art, is we never know everything.
Yeah.
And when you do think it's so complex on so many levels, but once you get to a certain level, it's simplicity.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's the beauty of the simplicity in the art. Where, you know, we were talking about, I ain't giving it away because I got to make sure that I use it first so I can be more effective. But we were talking about just simple strategies to get us to the same starting point where we know where the finish line is. And I think that's a huge attribute and a huge advantage once you start thinking in those boxes where you're in a box but you're outside the box, and you're really just honing it into simple techniques, simple game plans, and just, you know, like we said, you know, I say it all the time. What's Bruce Lee saying? I don't fear the man that knows 10,000 techniques. I fear the man that did one technique 10,000 times. And that's what we're doing, is we're sharpening our swords to get to those techniques that are razor sharp for us. And I think, you know, and Frankie just opened my eyes today to another samurai sword that I got to sharpen. You know, so and I mean, but that's the beauty that I can learn from Frankie. Now, I've probably been training longer than Frankie, but he just changed my game. Yeah. And, you know, you could be, you know, not training as long as me, but you get a concept and you bring it to me. And I think that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu. There is no end-all, be-all, say-all. There's concepts, but there's always way to grow and learn.
Yeah. And I knew that today, like waking up, I'm like, all right, I know these rounds are going to be hard, but there's going to be definitely a lot of stuff coming out of it that I learn, and I think that's what really kind of excites me and brings us back to this, because, you know, some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail, but you're always improving. There's 1%, 5%.
Absolutely.
Anything
and
else.
then you know, like we say, there's different tools for different jobs, and sometimes I bring the hammer when I need the screwdriver, and vice versa. And, you know, Frankie lets me know when I bring the hammer and I should have brought the screwdriver. So, but that's the great thing is you can make those adjustments quickly, because it's instantly like, stove's hot, don't touch it. Okay, well, I touched the stove, it was fucking hot, and I don't want that to happen again. So how do I go and approach this where I'm not? And then I shut that down. But the stove's still on hot somewhere else on it, so I could step on the stove, you know? So, like, that's one of the things that I think, like, you know, we do a good job in it, and it also helps you in everyday life. We have to make adjustments to different situations on the fly, and I think jiu-jitsu brings that home for all of us. You know, like, we learn to stay cool, calm, and collected under stressful situations every day. So, like, after somebody tries to break your arms or choke you, rest of the day ain't that bad. You know, they're not trying to simulate murder on you anymore. You're okay. You know?
The art of being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Very
true.
And
I always hear that over, and I could always see that whether, you know, I'm at the office or I'm at home or something. Just any of those issues, you attack them with like so much poise and like a clear and like a level head, essentially. So I really feel like you don't get that from anything else.
So then, so what else? Like competition wise, we spoke about a little bit. What do you have coming up? What do you got in the pipe, man?
So we got the Ebi OT.
What is this you speak of?
Oh, yeah.
Explain it to us.
Hot off the press.
All right. Yeah, no, it's a new format, right?
Yeah, so Eddie Bravo came up with this new tournament idea where he's going to just take the overtime rounds, and that's going to be, you know, the core of the event. So pretty much you get to start in back control or in the armbar position. And as everyone who has followed the event probably knows, the quickest escape time is going to win. It's the same 16-man bracket. It's the same, you know, payout structure. Are
they making the rounds longer in this shootout, or are they keeping the same overtime format?
What I think they're doing is you have a 2-minute cap.
Okay.
And then the position will switch. So if I start on offense and 2 minutes goes by and he hasn't escaped and I haven't submitted him, we're just going to switch positions. So you max out at 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely changes the strategy, because the old days it used to be like you got out when you got out.
Yes.
And it could go on for however long it needed to. But
and then they added the ride time or whatever, you know,
but
the equivalent
I
of
think
ride
for
time.
for viewership and for just like things to run smoothly, it's probably better they have the cap.
I think it makes you guys be more active.
It
makes you guys like a shootout, right?
More exciting rounds.
It's more exciting rounds. You really attack, and you know it's exciting because you are in the worst positions right off the bat. So it shows your skill both ways: your offensive skills and your defensive skills. It's like you're a magician. I can either escape real quick, or I'm hitting those shots real quick. So I think it will be interesting.
It'll be interesting
to see how that format plays out. Are you the only one competing from Henzo's?
No, it's myself and Ethan Krellinston is also in the
Another
division.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Another beast.
especially on the back.
Yeah. And just in case anyone doesn't know, as proficient as Frank is in his leg attacks, his back attacks are
just as proficient.
Yeah,
just as proficient.
Just as scary, just as painful. It's amazing.
And then Ethan's out of what? He's from Canada?
Yeah, Ethan's originally from TriStar,
right?
And he started training with us maybe 3-4 years ago.
I started seeing him in the room when I would come in around that time.
And he's been a great teammate, and God, he's fucking tough. So
and you guys are similar in stature. He's a little taller than you.
A little lankier than me.
A little lankier, but you guys are around the same size.
Yeah,
so probably
I get a lot of good ideas from Ethan. I get a lot of, especially the back position. That's his thing. I'm constantly going to guys like him for advice. So, it's good. We all play off each other.
So then coming to that, too, do you see a different game from the guys? Because, being in Hensel's, I always say it's like the United Nations.
Yeah.
You get people from all over, all different walks of life. Some don't even speak English.
That's right.
And you're in there, but everybody understands the same language of jiu-jitsu. And that's how we can communicate. We can be best friends and not even speak words, right? So do you feel like guys from certain regions have certain type of games, like the guys from Canada that come down? I mean, obviously the school makes the difference. We all know that.
Yeah.
But you feel like, the Canadians are more structured in this, the Brazilians are more structured in that, or I knew that guy was from Australia.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can tell or see anything?
You know what's funny about the TriStar guys was I saw a lot of what we were doing in them even before they trained with us full time, because of the fact that Faraz is a black belt under John.
Yes.
And so
his concepts are similar.
So I actually remember the first time I went to TriStar, Faraz was teaching and he was showing some guard passing and he was showing leg pommeling options. And I was so impressed, not because I knew Faraz was good. But I was like, oh man, this is almost like a continuation of John's class.
Yeah.
And so
and he's his own genius in himself.
Yeah.
He's got his own concepts.
So the guys from TriStar, I think part of the reason why him, Taza, Pierre, they adapted so well is because they had a lot of the foundational knowledge already, because Faraz was their instructor.
John and George were
and it was
together
just
for so long.
Business as usual when they came in.
Okay.
But yeah, different. Man, I've met so many great grapplers from around the world, and they each bring their own skills, and you try to, take whatever you can get. If somebody I know has a good front headlock or this or that, you try to grapple with them in that position and not run from it, because you want to be able to take as much as you can.
You can elevate your game.
Yeah.
And it's a smart way to train, is work on your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And learn from the guys that have very good strengths in that.
For sure.
Who's your favorite training partner?
Oh man.
I know, I'm throwing you on the spot.
I would say I hate them all equally.
No, exactly.
Being honest.
So who do you hate to train with the most,
man.
but he's the most, or she is the most beneficial for you in your game?
We all spend so much time together, and I fucking hate these guys. No, I'm kidding.
No, I get it.
I think I train a lot with usually my drill partner's Nikki.
Okay.
And I probably spend the most time drilling with him.
And if you don't know who Nikki is, Nikki Ryan, Gordon's little brother.
But man, it's I get so much good insight from everybody.
Yeah.
And I think, we were talking about before, nobody's got one answer. And sometimes at different stages in your game, you need different things.
Yeah.
So man, sometimes I go to the other day I was talking to Damian Anderson. He's another really good up and coming competitor.
Purple belt, right?
Yeah,
Was he out of Gary
under
school?
Gary.
Yep.
And Damian's back defense is unbelievable. So Damian and I were shooting the shit about ideas for some back escape stuff. I go to Nikki for body lock passing. I have all these great resources for different parts of my game that I might need help with.
So you got different encyclopedias for different problems, basically. So that was a very good political answer, you puss.
Yeah.
But I understand, because it is hard to narrow that down, because like you said, we need different tools for different jobs. We need different references for different problems.
Yeah.
So, everybody's a wealth of knowledge, and you're just, you're blessed to, train in a place where you have, the Library of Congress for jiu-jitsu in one room.
Again, if I could set them all on fire at one time, I would do it.
I would.
In a heartbeat.
I understand that.
They drive me nuts.
I know. Well, hey, it's like when you live together, you sleep together, you're in the same room. I know. We all get on especially in quarantine.
Yep.
So
Oh God, yeah, that's true. So aside from that, people who follow you on social media, they see your stories, and there's always, it's like clockwork. There's always some type of '90s hip hop playing in the background.
That's
man.
right.
That's mine and Frankie's connection.
Yeah.
That's right.
We like a lot of the same music.
And that's you and I. Anytime you and I go,
absolutely.
like, you know, there's always something. So let's just say if I were to walk into like Frank Rosenthal martial arts like tomorrow, say morning nogi class, what's playing on the
it's gonna be a healthy mix of anything from Wu-Tang to Big L to Redman and Method Man to Lupe Fiasco. Dude, I'm such like Nas, maybe some Damian Marley. I'm such a '90s hip hop guy. Like, and what's funny is I wasn't even. It's not like I was a teenager during that time.
Yeah.
You know, like I was born in 1990.
Yeah.
But hip hop was just so different then. Like I remember like when music videos were an actual thing.
Yeah.
Like when they mattered.
When MTV actually used to play music videos. Yeah.
And you know, I remember like, you know, wanting to buy a Biggie poster at the fucking third grade, you know, bookstore sale, you know, and yeah, it's like a weird nostalgia thing, but I also, I think the music was just different. I mean, there's great hip hop now, but the music was different then.
Yeah, there's a couple good people out there, but I'm always going back to like Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah,
that was like it's still to this day. My wife's like, anytime I hear Tribe Called Quest, I just think of you.
Yeah.
She's like, that was you. Like, I'm big on like Tribe, Far Side, Big L,
even like Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes.
Oh my God, what a savage!
Perfect. Yep.
What a fucking savage that guy was.
Camp Low, like I get into him, you know. But yeah, I mean, like '90s hip hop, it was just different. And I'm a big MOP fan, Gangstar, you know, and just their style. It's, you know, you had different styles, different flows. And for me personally, when I train jiu-jitsu, I like to train to that, like Wu-Tang, all that, because for me, this is how I've always looked at it. Different song comes out, I change the flow of my roll, and I go to the beat. And I think that's why it also, whether I'm doing takedowns or whatever, but that allows me to be more fluid.
Absolutely.
Less thinking about me dying because I can't breathe. And I'm singing, and I'm moving, and I'm flowing. Where if we put on Pantera, it'd be like murder, death, kill, bang, bang, you know? Like, where like even sparring, I like something with a beat. My instructor always gave us like, you know, whether it was dance music, Pitbull, something, you have a beat so you can start getting that flow, getting that rhythm. And I think '90s hip hop, it just has that flow. It has that
it just
rhythm.
fits with everything.
It does.
It just fit with everything.
Dude, I even found the instrumentals, like putting on like, I think I found like an hour-long clip of Electric Relaxation. And I'll even play that when I'm like working. I'll just have it on repeat on my speaker.
Well, then we also found, what was it? It was like, Drew found some mashups where it was like Wu-Tang singing, but it's Tribe Called Quest beats.
Oh, wow.
So Wu-Tang, it's like a Wu-Tang
DJ
song.
AOK. He does mashups, and he has a channel on YouTube.
Yeah, I gotta look at that.
He does that. He'll do like Nas, like the beats. And like he did like a Busta Rhymes type deal like that. It was like Nas beats but like Busta Rhymes lyrics.
Yeah.
And he just does all these crazy mashups.
Yeah.
But the thing is like they fit. Because when I remember that one Friday open mat when I played that Tribe Called Quest one, like it was sick.
Yeah, it was Tribe Called Quest and I think it was Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang, so it was like Wu-Tang versus Tribe Called Quest beats.
Yeah.
And you're like, it fucking works.
Yeah.
How does this work? I love them both. It's like Voltron. They combined, and you're just like, this is a super fucking thing.
Five 90s hip hop robots come together.
Yeah.
But I find like the mindset too, when you actually have that, and plus it just makes the rounds, I find, in my opinion, like so much more fun because now you're flowing and you're feeling it, and then even afterwards when you're sitting on the mat shooting the shit and you got that going on in the background, man, it just makes it so much
sets the
more enjoyable.
mood, man. I think like, and that's the thing, like. It sets the mood for the training session, and I think, you know, certain 90s hip-hop relaxes people.
Yeah.
So, you know, because you get that anxiety, especially if you don't train a lot, and you walk into a room, I mean, I know I could say, like, if I don't go to Henzo's for a while, and I'm like, oh, I'm walking into a room full of sharks, this is going to be a hard fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're competing.
Yeah.
Because everybody in there, even if, like I know Frankie, so, like, I can get a good roll with Frankie where we're going to go after each other, but it's not like I'm fighting for my life because somebody's trying to murder me. Where, like, then I go walk over with, like, you know, the other guy that's here from Kuwait for a week and he wants to kill me to say he killed somebody at Henzo's.
Yeah.
You know, like where you're like, oh, so it's almost like a competition room all the time. And there's no music. Where I feel like, hey, let's put some elevator music on. Everybody come back home. We're all friends, man.
I've been asking John for years. I'm like, John.
Well, I know like Fox doesn't do music because he says you can't hear the tap.
Yeah, which I understand.
I get it, but when there's 120 fucking people in a room and all you hear is feet.
Yeah. I tell him, I'm like, I understand it's a safety thing, but like Outcast is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
What if we met in the middle here?
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little sample real quick.
Can I roll with earbuds in? Is that cool? You know, like, so. But I mean, you know me and my academy, I always got.
There's always something.
Always got
Anytime I come in,
something.
man, there's always something on, man, which is amazing.
And it sets the mood.
It does, man.
Makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel at home, you know, and I think that's a good part.
Yeah, and it's interesting going back to like when you're talking about the vibe, because I said Tribe Called Quest is like a nice flowing move, and I know sometimes when I compete and I'll put on Wu-Tang when I'm warming up.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm just out there and I want to fucking hurt people.
I'm an MOP motherfucker.
Heads up.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
yeah.
I'm an MOP guy because I like how they mash it up where they're like that hard, like gritty sound, but then they'll throw like guitar in there.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck, bro. Two of my favorite things in the world.
Yep.
Put them together, you know. So I think that's definitely always a good way to, you know, approach the training situation.
Yeah. So yeah, I think definitely, especially for any academy, because like I mean, we get one of the best things about jiu-jitsu is getting to travel, so you kind of see those different kind of vibes like per academy. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, okay, so we were talking a little bit. You know, you travel and train with different, you know, like you're mainly out of Henzo's and stuff, but you have other, you know, high profile training partners. Like, what's the vibe in their academies? You know, so you want to talk a little bit, like, I know you train with Ryan. Ryan Hall, if you guys don't know,
the
UFC Wizard. Frankie, you know, Frankie's boys with him, and he goes down and puts some work in with him, and he gets a lot of good, you know, input from Ryan as well. But like, what's the vibe in his academy?
Ryan's actually got good music too.
Good for him.
A little more diverse, but there's some good hip hop in there.
All right.
But yeah, it's always fun training elsewhere just to sometimes get a different look, a different feel, and you know, guys just move different. Sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
You know,
different body types.
Yeah.
Body types too.
I'm always a big fan of, like, you know, we're all going after the same thing. We're all, you know, have the same goals in the sport, and you know, you find other people that are going to help you along the way. It's a win-win.
Now, do you feel, since you wrestled, like jiu-jitsu and wrestling are, you know, they're grappling arts, but one thing I've noticed the difference between jiu-jitsu guys and wrestling guys. Wrestler will wrestle anybody.
Yeah.
They'll wrestle their best friend.
Sure.
Because that's how the game is rigged from the time they start. Like, you might have to wrestle your training partner for the state title, and you might both have to go after it. Where jiu-jitsu guys are a little bit more, they don't want to go with their teammates, they don't want to go like that. So do you feel like the wrestling aspect, like, nobody wants to fight their best friend?
Sure.
I understand that 100%. And a lot of times, like, you've even seen, like, bigger guys, like when Buchecha and Leo, you know what I'm talking about. But, like, he bowed out and said, you're the world champion this year. So I respect that, too, because, like, listen, if you both train together all the time, you know who gets the better of who.
Yep. Yeah.
But any given Sunday as well. So if you both go, hey, let's put on a show and let's have fun, you respect each other, and you'll probably put the hardest show on because you're like brothers and you'll kill each other.
Yeah.
You know? But if you do respect each other and you, like, on that level, you can do that. But do you feel like, for you, how do you feel about approaching that situation?
I've done both. You know, I've like you said, I've had situations where teammates and I have had conversations and been like, listen, man, like, you know, for this one, it's best that you go in and I'll bow out, or vice versa. I've also had teammates that I've competed against. You know, Ethan and I have competed against each other before. We could potentially compete against each other again, and it's just business, man. Like, my relationship with my teammate will not change based on the result of a grappling match.
Well, I think that's also just maturity as you're getting older too.
And I think, like, you know, in terms of the match itself, listen, like, you could be some guy from Brazil, you could be some guy from California, you could be my fucking dad.
Yeah.
When the ref says go, like, dude, it's business.
Yo, how's
you know
your
what I
dad's
mean?
leg lock game?
Oh, he's actually fucking tough. You know, maybe my dad was a bad example. He might whip my ass.
That dad strength,
he's got that old man strength
those
still.
mitts, man.
But my point is, like, you know, my competitiveness, like, dude, that ain't gonna change. Like, I just want to win.
Yeah.
And when it's over, I'll be respectful, whether I know you or not. And you know, whether that's a training partner, that's just become part of the game. I think there's more than enough out there for everybody
to be able to
that you can avoid it. If like, look,
you avoid it at all costs, but if it happens, you ain't gonna run.
But if it happens, like, look, man, like, me losing one match, whether it's a teammate or not, is not going to define what I've done or what I will do competitively in the future. And so I think people again, if you can avoid it and you want to do that, great. If you want to go out there and scrap, great.
Yep.
Like, we're cool.
I
don't take it personal.
Don't
like,
trap
cool.
your ass either way.
Man, we're cool.
We're in it together, and this is what it is.
One of the things I like so much about like our team and like our chemistry is like, if I compete against a teammate and like win or lose, like we can make fun of each other. It's not like going to be this awkward elephant in the room. I'm going to be like, you suck, dude.
Yeah. What was your defense on that?
You fucking suck.
Yeah. What was the matter with you?
You should take 2 weeks off and quit.
Yeah, or kill yourself, right?
And so I think
I know that's not nice, but sometimes you got it.
Yeah. So I think when you don't take yourself too seriously, it
makes it easier to have that transition and be able to bust each other's balls and like say, hey, at the end of the day, you're all trying to get it to a similar goal.
Yeah.
So if you're especially in this sport, if you're in the same weight, you're going to run into each other.
Exactly.
And that's just the nature of the beast.
It is what it is.
Garrett, you bust my balls on a daily basis. So.
Well, that's my job. Oh. So pretty much, like, I don't know any other way to live but be a sarcastic asshole.
Yep.
That's just but. You love me or hate me, everybody knows where they fucking stand with me. So I don't pull the punches. Like, I don't care if you're the coolest guy in the world and not the cool. Like, you know where you stand with me. Because, like, life's too short for me to be bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't have time to hide. I don't have time to run. Like, we're going to stand here. We're going to do it. And, like, at least if we both know, like, hey, fuck you. Okay, we both don't like each other.
Yeah.
Or if I love you, you know it. And if I got your back, I'm a loyal motherfucker. But that's just how I'm built.
Yeah.
Not everybody's like that.
One thing I agree with so much that like Gary articulated really well one time, he's like, in terms of like relationships with people, he's like, if you're genuinely offended or like affected by words that people say, you're generally a pussy.
Yeah.
Like, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying there are things, like, some things you shouldn't say, just to deliberately piss someone off.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, man, if you're one of these people walking around and, like, you're, like, offended
by everything.
Like, to the point where you need to fall, like, it's going to actually affect your life, like, I just think you're fucking weak.
Well, mentally weak, but that's one of those things that I think perspective-wise is guys who train and guys who have that competitive mindset we don't think like that.
Yeah, I got bigger problems.
Yes, exactly. But it's very hard, and it's not that we're not compassionate, because if you see a kid starving on the street, you're gonna go get that kid food.
Sure.
Right? But when it's trivial bullshit, you just don't have time for it.
You can differentiate.
Yes, we know how to make those
what
decisions.
Matters and what doesn't.
And
my thing is, like, if it does not affect my immediate well-being or health, like, I don't give a fuck.
I know.
Like, some dude on the internet said you suck. Who gives a fuck?
I know.
It's not going to affect me, putting money in my pocket, or, it's not causing me a physical injury. Like, fucking let it go.
I think a lot of people put too much weight on other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and especially with social media nowadays, everybody's got a fucking opinion. It could be Bob, that's 60 years old, still living in his mother's basement. It could be the president of the United States. It could be, whatever it is. But now everybody has a voice, but there's not a lot of consequences with a voice.
Right.
Where, like, if I used to have to talk shit to you, I'd have to call you up, go to your house, call you out of your house, say, hey, Frankie, fuck you. And then we fist fight. Where now I could be on the other side of the room and be like, you little bitch, I'm going to kick your ass when I never see you, and I'm never going to have to pay for my consequences, and you're never going to make me shut my mouth. But if we do, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah.
So, like, I think people, it's that human connection. That I feel like they're even trying to take away more now. Cover up, don't touch, don't talk, don't speak.
But jiu-jitsu, luckily, I think jiu-jitsu does a good job of making people deal with that.
You can't hide who you are on the mat.
Like,
if you're a bitch, you
can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
No.
You can't. Like, listen, we all get beat, we all get put in certain positions, but like, we've all rolled together. Like, you know what type of person I am. Like, you see somebody's true soul.
Yeah.
Because, like, whether they're going to give up or they're going to do this or they're going to do that or they're going to give you a motherfucking go. Like, you and then that's why we all, like, that's what I say all the time. We're all 3 different walks of life and we can get along.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because we both see each other's soul and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's one of the great things about training.
Yeah. Yeah. So, kind of looking at, like, your career and everything you've kind of done, like, for you, what's, like, the ultimate goal? Like, as you're kind of moving towards, like, competing and now you're also instructing, like, Like, what's this kind of leading up to you? If it's leading up to one thing, or is it leading up to like many different things? Or
it's such a good question because that answer has changed so much. Yeah, especially in the last like 4 or 5 years. I used to be so specifically goal oriented and driven, and not that that's a bad thing. But if you had asked me 5 years ago, like, what's your fucking goal? Like, what do you want out of this? I would have, without even thinking, I would have been like, I want to be EBI champion. Because like I watched my teammates do it, and I watched like
saw the accolades,
I saw like what came with it, and I also like just very much love the spirit of that tournament itself. But the point is like then, as time went on, like you have matches against guys that have been in EBI or won EBI, and you beat them, and what was really important to you, like now, if you were to ask, like if you told me now that EBI was going to be the pinnacle of my career, I'd be like, fuck, that's kind of a sad career. Not because, not taking anything away from EBI,
I get what
but
you're
my
saying.
Point is like, your goals and everything changes. So right now, I would say like, man, I don't have a specific end-all, be-all, like if I get this, I'm going to be happy. I have specific things I want to do. Like November, I want to take down the ADCC trials, get to the big show, and send one deep. But I would say like overall, I just want to get to my martial arts potential and my athletic potential, both competing, teaching, and training. And I think if I do that, the accolades and the tournaments and this and all that will come, and that'll be cool if it does. But I'm not putting all my energy and stress on like, I have to win this, and if I win this, I'm happy, and if I don't, I'm unhappy. Because I've done that before, and I've won things and then not given a fuck about it. A month later.
You think that comes with maturity now that you got a
I think it does
older?
too.
Yeah, because like the little stuff, and I don't compete anymore, but like little things in life that used to matter don't really matter anymore as you get older, because you realize that stuff and those pinnacles will fade. What are you left with as a man or a woman that's going to make you who you are? So it's part of your foundation, and it's great for the notoriety and everything, but like you said, like at the end of the day, if I'm doing the right things, it will come.
I think like too, like as athletes, you're always, if you're going in the right direction, you should be moving the goalpost back for yourself. So like 2 years ago, if you were like, hey man, like would you be excited if you got an EBI invite? I'd be like, oh my God, I'd be fucking over the moon. And now people are like, are you excited you're going to be, in this Ebi OT? And I'm like, I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm not like I'll be happy when I win the fucking thing.
I'm
not just happy to be there. But 2 years ago I would have been, because I was just at a different point in my development, and so I think that'll always change.
Well, you see guys that ride, they'll ride the wave like, oh, I competed in EBI, but
right,
it's like they get subbed.
That was cool when it happened.
Yeah, but
and so same with ADCC. Like, look, man, I haven't gotten there yet, so I can't look too far ahead. And right now, if I won the trials, I'd be very happy. I'd be very proud. But after you win the trials, then it's not enough just to make it to the big show. You want to fucking take this thing down. So for that reason, when you ask a question like that, it's a great question, and it's a hard answer because your goals are always changing.
Yeah, you're always evolving.
When I was a purple belt, I was like, I want to be a black belt. Then I got my black belt, and I was like, well, I don't just want to be a black belt.
I want to be the best black belt.
It's always changing.
Well, it's just, like you said, you're moving the goalpost. You're setting different goals. So, but from what I understand, it's like hearing you talk, like ADC is where you want to be right now.
I mean, that's your
real goal.
That's one of them.
Well, it's one of them, but that's what's kind of in your mind right now, and that's your goal. And once you get to that goal, then you got to get to the next goal, and then once it opens up. But that's the other thing too. It's like jiu-jitsu. It's like a tree branch. Once one branch grows, it sprouts another way. So I understand your answer in that aspect. It's very hard to like narrow something down.
It's like the roadmap, man.
Like where like some guys are like, I want to be Olympic champion, and then they become Olympic champion. It's like, what the fuck do I do now? I put my whole life into being an Olympic champion. Now, like, what do I do? Sell cars?
Or God forbid, or God forbid, like you fall short a little bit. Like, what are you gonna do? Just fucking, shut it down and be depressed your whole life? Like, so, for that reason, I think you want to have general goals maybe that are short term, but then longer term goals that maybe aren't as definable.
So I want you think like, because martial arts, like we were talking about reasons why people get into it, like not everybody gets into jiu-jitsu to become a competitor. They fall into that thing because they fall in love with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes even if they don't make it to the pinnacle, they still have the love for the art.
Yeah,
so it's like that's what I always say. Like nobody can ever tell you you're too fat, you're too old, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough. Like the NFL, the NBA. You can always train jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can always, train karate.
Yeah.
You know, like even if you're 80 years old, you're out there fucking kiai and all that other shit. But like nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I think that separates martial art, even though it comes to the professional aspect in the sport and stuff, is like anybody can do it. And it's usually they bring the weakest in to get them stronger in martial arts, whether ADD or learning disability or disabled or getting picked on. That's what I always say is like, wrestling a lot of times it separates the lions and keeps the lions together. Jiu-jitsu makes the sheep into lions.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big, a big attribute of martial arts.
It's
like
always a part of you, no matter what.
Yep.
No matter what accolade you get, it's always going to be a part of you and continue to shape.
Well, they always say, like, I've heard it before too. It's like, would you trade your black belt for $1 million?
Nope.
See how quick that came out of his mouth?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, and I know when Drew gets there, he's getting close.
Yeah.
People said you will never
think.
take this life experience. It's
fucking
priceless.
Yeah.
What
The
I've
friendships,
learned.
the trials, the tribulations, the mental shit that I get you. And like, I got 3 black belts in 3 different systems.
Yeah.
So I've put the fucking decade of or plus in every single system that I've trained in.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No.
Yeah.
Wouldn't.
You
the
think
friends
about
it brings you.
You think about the person like you were before you started like martial
Oh,
arts.
I'm still a douchebag.
You still, well, yeah, true. But you look at like the person, how like this art, or essentially the multiple arts, has kind of shaped your character. And, like,
Absolutely.
You can't trade that for anything.
No, I think it's it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It really is a blessing, and I think anybody who takes that journey and really sticks to it would agree with all of us on that.
It'll change
notion,
your life. It'll change your
See
life.
how quick that came out of his mouth? Frankie said, nope.
No.
Didn't even have to think
no.
about it. No fucking way.
No.
Ain't happening.
Yeah. I mean, I like money, but
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Like,
Hey, listen, that I know it's gonna sound weird, but like you can always get money somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You can't always get a
can't
black
buy
belt.
this.
You
No.
can't buy it.
No,
It
man.
depends where you go, but like we know where we got it from. You can't buy it.
No.
You can't buy it. You earn that. You put your blood, your sweat, and your tears into it.
daily, man.
Yeah. So definitely.
I also, because I'm just like a fucking egotistical prick. I'll say like I like knowing that I'm on like an endeavor where I'm literally trying to become the best on the planet in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And other people, like I'm lucky like where I have, I do jiu-jitsu for a living, and like that's what I love to do the most out of anything else in the world. And other people aren't as fortunate, right? Whether it's their fault or not, like they have to work jobs that they don't love. And I kind of I like knowing when I walk into a room, like if you're whatever, you work at Domino's, whatever, like you're not trying to be the best Domino's guy on the planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's just a different drive and a different passion for what you're doing when you're really doing what you 100% want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this because I'm 90% in it, I'm 95% in it, like I'm 100% in this. And so yeah, like I don't know, I just think you're living with a bit more purpose if you're fucking going after something that you're doing it on your terms because you want to, not because you have to buy the house that you didn't really want and the car that you didn't really need. And
I say it all the time. I'd rather make $30,000 a year doing something I love than make $300 million doing something I hate.
And the reality is, if you're good enough at it, like the money will come anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. It
So
will.
you can have both, but
Well, I also say jiu-jitsu is one of these funny things, and we talked about it last podcast, where you have so many different walks of different, guys, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, like, we were talking about basically, like, you walk on the jiu-jitsu mat, and you could have a billionaire and a guy that has negative 30 cents in his account, but for that moment in time, that billionaire wants to be that guy because he is God on the jiu-jitsu mat.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter about your money and your this and your social standing and all that. It's like it brings us all to that raw form. And the billionaires, he's jealous of the guy that can't even pay his bills, but he has something that he doesn't. And that goes back to something that's worth more than money.
Yeah.
I mean, again, ego, but like I like knowing that I'm probably better at what I do for a living
Than what
you
you're
are
doing
what you do for a living.
Hey.
And I'm better at it not because I'm, Like, I'm better because I fucking earned it.
There's a difference between putting the work in and giving too. And like, when you're true with yourself and you really put in the hustle, you really put in the work, you really put in that stuff, you can lay your head on the pillow a little bit better.
Yeah.
And the other thing is doing it right. Not cutting the corners, not chopping somebody else's knees out to get where you are. It's just like, I stayed on my path, I went over the road bumps, I jumped over the fucking, the walls, I climbed the bridges, and I'm getting there my path.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely think that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, I think so. All right, guys, and with that, Phil, it's a good note to end on. Frank, thank you so much for doing this, man. We're so happy that you could jump on this. Also, train with us too. I'm probably gonna be hurting for the next 3 days just because I'm old. But folks, July 19th. Catch Frank Rosenthal at the EBI Back Attack Shootout.
Where's it going to be on? Is it going to be on Fight Pass?
Yeah, it'll be on UFC Fight Pass. We're going to be in El Paso, Texas.
And what is all your social media?
I'm on Instagram at Frank Rosenthal 11. That's about it. I don't really use Facebook too much.
Okay.
How's there 10 other Frank Rosenthals?
Yeah.
There can only be one.
Yeah, there can only be one, and that's his goal, is to eliminate the other 10. So it's like the Highlander.
I know, I was just going to say.
One. So, but also, guys, check out Roll Junkie, sponsors of our show. Enter in promo code 2LiveFools, and you get 15% off your entire order.
Yep.
So check out rolljunkie.com. Great stuff. They just sent me and Drew the Patriot t-shirts. Killer. Love them. Awesome. Just keep following. We finally got our Facebook page set up, so you guys can check us out over on there. Like us, share us, Spotify, Anchor, etc. And Frankie, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, and we'll see you guys later this week when me and Drew get our acts together and put something else together. Yeah. All right? Take it easy.
Jiu Jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.